Hey everyone, back with another video. So today's a pretty important day. We have an FOMC meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time, and the Fed expects to cut interest rates. Okay, so this is pretty huge. Interest rates are very important. It seems like a lot of people are worried about the economy, worried about AI getting rid of jobs. So I expect the Fed to cut interest rates today about 25 basis points or 0.25% to make it cheaper to borrow money and to take kind of a little bit of the stress off of small businesses and the average borrower, so to make things more affordable. So we go over to Polymarket. Now, Polymarket is usually pretty accurate. Okay, so there's a 98% chance that there'll be a 25 basis point decrease. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. So currently the current Fed fund rate is about 4% to 4.25%. So the Fed expects to lower the Fed funds rate by 25 basis points, bringing the target range to 3.75 to 4%. So this will be the reducing the borrower cost to the lowest level since 2022, which was also right around the MSTR and crypto bear market of 22, where the MSTR was trading below 1 MNAV. At one point I think the MNAV was like 0.7. It was insane, and nobody wanted to own the stock. Of course, this was pre-split, so the stock wasn't actually like $20. It was $200. So maybe that like sticker price scared a few people away, but a lot of people that knew what Saylor was doing bought the dip and did quite well. So what I think is going to happen today, I think a lot of people are basically at max panic, okay, especially when it comes to holding Bitcoin related assets. So Bitcoin it looks like it's clearly going to have a red month. I don't know. So this Fed rate cut is bullish, obviously, for risk on assets, right? Because as the Fed reduces interest rates, people putting their money in money market accounts, high yield savings, they're earning less interest. And for some people out there that are retired and basically, living off of interest income, they need to figure something out because their income is going to start dropping and dropping and dropping. There also is another potential rate cut in December. So, this is crazy. Bitcoin, it looks like it's not even flat. There's only a few, literally 2 days left in the month. So 2 to 3 days left in the month, and Bitcoin is dead nothing. So it looks like October has been canceled. So what I think is going to happen, I think the last 2 days of this week are basically going to be the bottom, okay? Or why is that? Because the FOMC meeting is good, okay? I expect risk on assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, MSTR, all of the miners, ASAT, all of the digital asset treasury companies should pump, okay? And I also expect Mag 7 to do well as well. So, NVIDIA just reached a $5 trillion market cap status. So people are still making money out there. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, maybe I should just sell MSTR and buy NVIDIA. Well, I would say this. I would say that NVIDIA is a monster of a company, but at the end of the day, AI, is going to become more competitive. The more and more companies are going to develop products and enter the space. I don't think NVIDIA will be able to dominate forever. But the thing about Bitcoin is so different is that MSTR has such a huge lead on every other company. MSTR has more Bitcoin than the United States government, has more Bitcoin than China, is more Bitcoin than all the world governments hold combined. So right there, there's a much bigger moat, I think, than the moat with NVIDIA. I think a lot of players can enter the space and compete with NVIDIA. That's why NVIDIA is making so many deals to try to stay on top. But at this point, with MSTR's Bitcoin hold, at this point, we take a look here, it's almost impossible for anyone to catch strategy. So I think pivoting from strategy or MSTR to NVIDIA is a mistake. I think if you were to play NVIDIA, you should probably play it with options, but that's just my opinion. I think MSTR is a better long-term investment. So what could happen is we could have a double whammy, right? So today, after the FOMC meeting, okay, the Fed's going to cut rates. I expect Bitcoin MSTR to move. And then on Thursday, I expect MSTR to move. And I have a really interesting video planned for later today it's going to shock everyone about Stretch, STRC, one of the strategy preferred stocks. There's actually a way you can set things up where literally you can earn basically the dividend income tax-free. And it's really impressive, and Saylor talked about it in one of his roundtable interviews. We're going to talk about it more in this video, but I wanted to keep this video short because I need time today to move funds and play some end of the week 3-day until expiration options on MSTR and some of these other treasury companies, but especially MSTR because, you know, with the sentiment so terrible, with the, as I mentioned, the weekly RSI is at its lowest point, okay, since the 2022 bear market, right? So the last time the weekly RSI was this low was back on December 27, 2022 during the crypto bear market. So I don't believe things can get much worse. I mean, literally, you know, the RSI is a pretty reliable indicator of sentiment. It doesn't talk about the fundamentals of a company, but it talks about, it shows us, it indicates whether people are basically euphoric and greedy and excited about a company, or they're fearful and scared. And, you know, if we can look back here over the last couple of, years, over the last 5 years since MSTR bought Bitcoin, okay, the RSI, the weekly RSI, okay, we're talking about the weekly RSI. The weekly RSI has only dipped below 30 like once, okay, once or twice, and that was all during the 2022 bear market. So, like, what's going to happen? What, Bitcoin's going to crash to 70K and MSTR is going to crash to 200? No, that's not going to happen. We talked about the gold pump, and then 100 days later, you know, Bitcoin lags gold and Bitcoin starts to pump. So this is not the right time to sell. The FOMC meeting will be the first catalyst. This will probably be the pivot point. Thursday earnings will be positive. So just hang in there. I wouldn't worry too much, and just make sure you are placing your bets and you're not being too greedy. If you're going to make profits from the earnings this week or from the FOMC meeting, just make sure to take your profits on the options. If you need help trading options, be sure to check out buy a copy of my ebook, MSTR Options Cash Flow, link in the pinned comment. Or if you're just holding long shares, I would say just be patient. If you really, want to figure out a way to generate income, you could just always sell out of the money covered calls, weekly or monthly, while you basically wait for things to turn around. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this video up now. Got some more content planned, so it should be interesting. Like I said, yeah, so the FOMC meeting's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be active in the private Discord server today, and also especially tomorrow during earnings. Earnings is after close, so that should be really interesting. So like I said, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Smash the subscribe button if you enjoy my content, like this video, and join the MSTR Investors Club if you want to chat in our private Discord and get some members only videos. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up. I got some other content planned for the rest of the day, and hope everyone has a good one, and we'll see what happens with Fed Chair Jerome Powell and the Fed decision at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So see everyone in the next one. Take care.